All right, this is Boris and the team, and we are studying INT222. We have our exam in 2 days, and we're gonna ace it.
Naturally.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna go through the entire course very quickly and clarify small things, and hopefully we will do very well on it. I'll upload this video for everybody to see, and if you have any questions, let us know. So this is Internet Fundamentals. The internet is built on TCP/IP, 4 layers, blah blah. Web browsers use TCP to connect to the internet. They have all these fancy protocols. TCP uses more overhead, has more latency, but there's error checking and delivery validation. In UDP, there's less overhead, less latency, no error checking. So UDP is like good for gaming, and TCP is good for like websites and whatever.
UDP is treated like streaming. It's basically the same as a television, where it's constantly spouting information at you, but it doesn't really care whether you receive it or not.
Ah, yes, it's a good way to put it.
Otherwise, otherwise TCP checks to make sure that you actually received information, and it counts the amount of packets that it sends you. And if there are any missing packets, then your computer will tell the server to resend those packets. Make sure that you received everything. That's why downloading works.
Ah, yes, indeed. So the teacher made a huge point of saying that Tim Berners-Lee was the guy who invented the internet. So I bolded that. It's not recommended to use frames. So frames are like deprecated or something. So CSS is preferred.
The problem with iframes is that it's very difficult to actually manipulate anything inside of an iframe since it's technically showing you an image from a different website.
Hmm.
Just very uncomfortable to use and can can drastically affect the load time of any website.
So we have URI, which is a resource identifier. Like for example, hashtag top or octothorpe top or what do they call it? Pound top. Is that what it's called? So
Yeah,
this would be like a link inside of a web page, and when you click on it, it doesn't go to a different web page. It goes to a resource on the web page, so it'll jump to the top of the screen. And then URL is a subset, which is like HTTP or something, or HTTPS, or FTP. For example, here we have a site. The protocol would be HTTP. The domain name would be Google, and derp.html would be the document. So there's
indeed.
like what the old model looked like. I don't know what the new model looks like. Yeah, hold on, let me scroll down there. Okay, hold on. Should be a way to. Technical difficulties. What's the way to go to the next page? Okay. So JavaScript 1. Most JavaScript is run inside the browser in HTML code. Simplest JavaScript thing, alert X displays a message box. So in X, you put in your text, so you'd be like, derp, and that'll give you a message box. JavaScript doesn't complain about data types. Pretty much every data type works with everything else in JavaScript, so it's pretty nice. So you just use your text. 0 is the default value, returns a string. You don't need any includes.
And it handles all forms of memory dynamically.
Yeah,
You can add as much as you want to any single variable.
Yeah, which is pretty nice for beginner programmers. It's also it gives like too much trust to the programmer. So what ends up happening is people make really shitty websites that freeze up your browser, eat up all your RAM, and crash all your plugins.
It could be
So
worse.
yeah, it could be worse. Yeah,
It could be made in Flash.
yeah, back in the day, like with Windows 98, you could have crashed the computer just with a website.
Those
So
were the days.
yeah, those were the days. So the one thing about JavaScript is that everything is a string by default. So if you do x plus 100, like if you have x, let's say x is 50, and you say x plus 100, it's not going to do 150. It'll be 50, 100, like this.
Actually, no. It reads any input as a string, but any variable that you set specifically to be a number, just as you had x equals 50, that will be read as a 50, and x plus 100 would be 150. If you happen to read any user input, though, you have to change that into a number, or else it will be treated as a string by default.
Right, you are. Everything in JavaScript is returned as a string, concatenation. Number x, this will convert the string into a number. JavaScript is case sensitive. We recommend using camel case. Numbers are called objects. So for example, parseInt x10 converts the string to number base 10, but is optional. So for example, you want to make something binary, you just do instead of 10, type in 2, and there we go. It'll make a binary. Isnan is it's like a function, right? And it means like is not a number. So when you're feeding ASCII into an integer field, it'll say it's true if it's not a number, and if it is a number, it'll say false. So it's good to use in form validation and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have more functions like parseInt, so it'll make it like an integer, and it truncates. So you say 100 ABC, it'll only do 100. Parsefloat will make it into a floating point number. Eval will evaluate a mathematical equation. Semicolons in JavaScript will run properly without a semicolon, but it's recommended that you have a semicolon after every statement. These are custom functions. Custom functions can start with the letter or underscore. You can nest functions. Essentially have access to the private or local variables due to being elements of parent functions. 3 types of expressions: arithmetic, string, and local. They all do stuff.
Yes,
So
indeed, stuff is being done.
yeah, so it's pretty much like all other programming. You have your function, you have your name, these are like your inputs, and then you have your curly braces and your code block inside. There's no data type for the function, so there's no like void stuff or bool, whatever. Like it just knows what kind of data type it has to be.
Yes.
So for example, this one.
Although it's usually recommended to at least return 0 anyway.
Yeah. So here's just like a simple code. It says enter a mark if mark is greater than or equal to 0. Sum plus equals mark. And just different statements. As a do while loop to calculate averages. There's 2 ways to call a function. The built-in ones, like parseInt, it like comes with JavaScript. It'll work on everything. And then you also have function, then the function name, and return. So these are functions that you create yourself. There's 2 types of variables: local variables, which are like the scope inside a function, and global variables that can be seen as all functions. So this is further explored in other languages like C++. Yeah, x equals ABC global, var y is local. You can use string copy to copy strings into variables. And it's really important that you know global and local variables. And this was explored in Clojure, where we have like functions inside functions. The inner ones the inner function can be accessed only from statements in the outer function, but not the other way around. The outer function cannot use the arguments or variables of the inner function. Because as soon as the function like ends, as soon as your code block is done, like right here, then all the variables are all gone, right? They're returned back into the memory. Yeah, name conflicts. When two arguments or variables in the scopes or closure have the same name, there's a name conflict. The most inner scopes take precedence, so the more inner most scope has the highest precedence. So if you have like nested functions, the one that's like surrounded by all the other functions, like the innermost one will have the highest precedence. But the best thing is just not to have not to have the same name for all your functions. Anonymous functions, these are declared at runtime. They're not given a name. Declared using the function operator. So let's say var sq equals function x, return x times x. So like this function is being used, like it's not really being called, it's being like implicitly called. So we have something called JavaScript validation. It's based on ruse. So you got to make sure you know all the ruse.
Ruse.
Yeah. You want validation to return a valid value. So for example, function getName, you have some loop, and return valid input. So the whole purpose of this function is to return the input. That is correct. Or return false, or return true, depending on what you want it to do. And then you can have like a variable, like you can save the output of this into a variable and then use that later. Structure input, algorithm, process, output, pretty much. JavaScript uses a lot of arrays. Well, every language uses arrays. So you do like variable, the name of your array equals new array, and then your elements. This example, let's use round brackets to like, let's say, product with 10 array length. Here you're initializing an array, and you're also assigning values. You have books and plates, and the stuff in the middle will just be like dots. Same thing here. This is defining and initializing. So there's lots of array properties. Like you can get array.length. So it'll show you how many items are in an array. Concat, you can like put together two arrays. You have array join. So this will returns a copy of the joined arrays. But this one joins elements of an array with the separator. So these are kind of similar. Yeah, array to string, converts it to string, returns result. That's pretty nice. You can use that, when you're doing any sort of database work. Mm-hmm. Like an output of reverse. I don't know, probably like with number sorting. A sort. And if you want to sort in descending order, then you do array sort dot reverse. Array shift removes first element of array and returns that element. Unshift adds new elements, and slice returns elements in an array as a new array object. Select elements from the start, but not to including the end.
Yes.
Yeah. Array concat. So this will concatenate arrays. Array join. Blah blah. Index of. So you can find out if you have an element inside an array, you want to find out which index it's on. You just use this index of. And you have pop and push, but we didn't use that in class. So I'm assuming it's like for hardcore programming. And new date, get to the current date. Here we had like some sort of quiz, so I had a review thing. Math is a property, methods are behaviors, string.length, math.e. So math has like tons of built-in functions. Like this one gives you Euler's number. Or there was like math.pi, that'll give you pi. This will give you pi. To fixed, it'll give you a fixed number of decimal points. For example, if you have like, your result is like 3.1415, like whatever, like math.pi will give you like 92, is it something like this? 9265? Whatever, so this is pi, and let's say you only want like the first two digits, like 3.14, so you do 2 fixed 2, and it'll give you back 3.14. To precision gives you the total number of decimal points. So these are pretty similar. This one gives you, look, I think this one chops it off, and this one rounds it, but I'm not sure. Joshua, do you know the difference between these two? Okay. But anyway, yeah, they chop off the decimals. To string converts number to string in a base. If you have some numbers and you want to output them into a string, even though you don't really have to convert them, maybe you need to do it in some functions. And then there's regular expressions. So here what you do is you have a pattern. You give it a variable, and you say new reg expression, and then here you have your pattern and modifiers. So the pattern could pretty much be anything. So let's say you want to do like A, B, C, D. You're only accepting A, B, C, D. So it'll be var pat equals A, B, C, D slash. And then your modifiers, I think there's I, which is ignore case. And do you know what the other one was? E. What's E? Right. Yeah, so you can do I, which is case insensitive matching, which means it can be like capital A or lowercase a. Here this is a global match. So saying find all the matches rather than stopping at the first match. So if you're doing that, it's sort of like for find functions, and then multi-line matching, which we didn't cover in class.
Yeah.
So you have like brackets, you know, different great ways to do this. Actually, I'm just going to copy this in. This is great.
I'm not too sure about that E though. Honestly, it just looks like it's searching for E.
Yeah, I think that was just an example. Let's get rid of it. Yeah, so for example, what do we got here? Fantastic. So if you want to like find A, B, C, D, or maybe like you want to do A, B, C, D, E, like this, then you just do /I. Done.
Yep.
Yeah, lowercase I. Ah, stupid autocorrect. There. Returns true or false depending on the result. Regular expression that to actually run the regular expression, you have to do your regular expression. So in this case, it would be pat dot exec, which is a function, and then you put in your string in here. So string could be like a paragraph, it could be, you know, a word, it could be a sentence, it could be whatever you want. Returns as a result array or null. Null is also a value. JavaScript objects and inheritance. So with objects, you can have them like inherit stuff. So let's say you want to make a new object from my car. You want to make it Ford. Struct is a requisite for class. So classes and structs are like the same thing, pretty much in JavaScript. Create a new object using initializer. So here you have an initializer, so you're creating the object and you're giving it values all in one statement. Engine property is also an object with its own properties. You can have constructors, so function car, this.make, .model, .year, and just put in everything into data members. Here you're making a car, and you're giving it some values. And then here you're outputting them. So alert mycar.make plus mycar_model plus mycar_year. So this will output alert. So it'll give you like a message box, and it'll say Ford model with Taurus 2001. So this will be in your little box. Object create creates new object with specified prototype. Say you can create new objects. You just be like var whatever object.create, and you create your object, assuming you have it defined already. Then you can have escape characters. So the backslash is an escape character in JavaScript. So in case you want to do that's good, then you got to put in the backslash. Yeah. I create student using person as prototype. So here you're just getting more fancy. You're just making more objects on top of objects.
Nested objects.
Yeah, nested objects, and like they're inheriting whatever the base object has. So create teacher object using person as prototype. Object.create. Yeah, whatever is our teacher. Using constructors to create objects. Function Cody. It's pretty much the same thing. So here we're creating Cody, and we're giving him a year, giving him a height and a grade. And you can just do alert Cody.grade, and it'll display the grade on the screen. Common inheritance: person is parent, student inherits everything. So it's exactly like C++. We do not list everything, just create the object from the person. Here you're taking the birth date and you're putting it into a string, and you're attaching the email. That's pretty cool. Then when we're doing tables, I think actually the HTML part comes first. Yeah. So let's get into HTML. HTML is great. It's like a big collection of tags that you can use. So they're pretty much like indicators, like you turn something on and off. You'll have like surrounding tags. So like this is a self-closing tag. So this will say doctype HTML. It means this is an HTML5 document. But you got to save everything as .html, not HTML. This is the old version. HTML/HTML. So all your code will go in here. And then you need title. So title will give you the title of the taskbar. Like for example, right now, our title is HTML introduction, one note. So that's what it looks like. Then you have your head. So your title goes inside your head.
Scripts, title, and anything that you're including to the document. And that includes links to CSS.
Yeah. Precisely. Counter source links. Yeah, so everything goes in head, and then body is where the actual visual stuff goes in. So your whole page, your images, your text, paragraphs, everything. This one, mark highlights text. This makes it bold, so B and then /B.
So does strong.
Yeah, EM is like emphasize. I think that's
yeah.
I think EM is italics.
Yeah, it also italicizes.
Yeah, so we were on EM. I think it means like emphasize. I don't know what that does actually.
Well, it just pretty much italicizes as well.
So what's I gonna do?
Also italicizes.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Subscript and superscript. It's like to make, to the power of, like that shit.
Yeah, just either tiny text above or below.
Yeah. Then you have your headings. These are pretty important. So when you want to make like big fat text. Heading 1's the largest, and heading 6 is the smallest.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you have your break tags. So break just puts in like, it's pretty much like pressing enter, like in Word. So it makes a break. And this one doesn't have like BR, like slash BR. It's just BR slash. So it's like self-enclosed. This is the proper way to do it. You have block quotes. This is, I think it's like an HTML5 thing. And then you have your space. Just stupid as hell because this takes up more space than the actual word space. Then you have your horizontal rule, which is like a big line going across your screen. And then you have your lists. So this is an unordered list. This is making bullet points. List item, this is making like an order. Wait, yeah, bullet points, right? What's the difference between these two?
UL is the unordered list. It'll tell the list item to make a bullet point. If the list item is inside of an unordered list, then it'll be bullet points. If you put the list item inside of the ordered list, then instead of bullet points, it will have either numbers or letters or however else you wish to specify that to look like.
Yes. So you can have list items inside an ordered list.
Yes.
So I put those together, but these can actually be together like that. Yeah.
Well, if it's inside of the list, then yeah.
Number. This is a definition list. I forget what this does. I think it like indents and makes it a little smaller, right?
Yeah, it makes it all indented like a dictionary.
Yeah. And then this is making your definitions. This is the fun stuff where you make links. So you make a link, it's A, and then href. So this specifies your link URL or your URI. So you can put in like hashtag top, and then it'll jump to the top of the page. And it's the text that the link looks like. So you have to have the text so you have like somewhere to click on.
Yes, the A there stands for anchor tag, and href means HTTP reference.
Oh, didn't know that. Target equals blank. I have no idea what that. Oh, opens a new window.
Yes.
Yeah. Href, yeah. So this is like page 2. So this will make a link to second.html when you click on it. Here you have an ID. So you put this ID inside your text, and then when you click on derp, it'll jump to the top. Or you have a target, which is top, and then go top. And then you have your tables. So you have a table and slash table. So inside, you put your table header. Then you put in your table row. And then inside your table row, you put in your table data. And then here you can do like column span. So in case you don't want to have like a perfect like grid, like if you want some of the columns to be bigger than the others, then you use column span or a row span. Do not open in a new window in most cases. Attribute. HTML doesn't require quotes. Targeted attribute. Yeah, so it was pretty funny. We were in class, and Notepad was crashing for the teacher. So she's like, "I'm gonna use another one." So she opens up like regular Notepad, like not Notepad++. Well, one of them was crashing, so it's funny. Okay, see, very nice. You can add more. The root is you need to provide the full complete path. Oh, and I was playing Portal, and she's like, at like almost the exact same time when I was playing, she's like, What are you doing? Stop it. It was like exactly like GLaDOS. So I thought it was so funny.
What are you doing? Stop it.
Here, I'll play the video.
What are you doing? Stop it. Here, please.
Yeah. Like I was like practically at that part. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, DOM, table, list links. Yeah, relative
You do
length.
know the solution to make sure that Sunny doesn't catch you playing Portal, right?
Um, well, it's not like I was expecting to not be caught. I just thought she wouldn't care. And it turns out she does care.
It would take a pretty bad professor to not care.
Well, I think a lot
Oh,
of
my
professors know
student
that
isn't learning. Oh, well, I don't give a fuck.
people. Well, I was really bored. I mean, I've done HTML before. This is really simple for me. So, I
Is
was,
it now?
yeah. I can't do it on my head. I can do it great on the computer, but not on a piece of paper. Tables are used for tabular data, not for web page layouts. I'm guilty of this. I will make a nice web page in Photoshop, and I'll make some slices, press export. It makes a nice table for me with all the images. Copy, paste, done. But no, you're not allowed to do that. I mean, you are
And you
allowed,
say
but
and you say that you've done HTML before.
yeah, I have. It's just I'm lazy, right? So it's easier for me to design it on Photoshop rather than on the page. And then she says, I'll give you a reference sheet, but it won't be very helpful. That's what she actually says, and she means it. The reference sheet is complete shit. Like, there's a bunch of commands that we don't even use. Like, there's all these functions that we don't know, and then, like, the forms and everything, like, nothing's on there.
And we have all of the HTML tags and whatnot, but we don't get any of the attributes for them, or maybe just some of the attributes.
Yeah, so
And we don't get told what some CSS things work with what. Like, what if you want to line a text somewhere?
yeah, so the best way to pass this course would probably be to learn it and
Yep.
practice it, and don't rely on the reference sheet because it's complete garbage. Have a title for every page, and caption should go in the table. So this was here's a tables exercise. So it's pretty easy.
Yeah, the B1, B2, B3, B4 is a nested table inside of one of the boxes.
Yeah, so you have your border here. Here's your table row. So this is H1, H2, H3. That's the end of the row. Then you have your second row. And then you have like your table data, and then you have a table inside, which is this. And then A22, A23. This is regular table. There's no call span on this. Although I think you could do it with call span, but this is a lot easier.
Yeah, it doesn't have call span because it's all in the same row as the nested table, and the nested table is really large, so it just stretches the table out.
Yeah.
That's something nice about HTML. It's all dynamic sizing as well. You don't have to specify a size for absolutely everything.
Indeed. And then here you have this one's call span, or no, this one's call span A32. So it should be like half this, but it's spanning over another column, so that's why it's called span 2.
Yeah.
Slash table.
It spans 2 columns.
Yeah. So this is JavaScript objects. Sort of going through objects again. String.length. So if you have like, let's say, string of a string called string, this will return the length of it. Then you have your char at. So let's say char at I. So if you have your like a name, let's say Boris, your char I, because it's looking for I, it'll say 0, which is right here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll return 4. Char code at, this will give you the Unicode character at the index. I don't really know the practical applications of this, But if you're working with Unicode, I guess you need to use it. So it'll give you like some random number, which represents the character. Then you have your index of substring. So if you're trying to find the index of a certain thing, let's say you have a huge string of characters and you want to find where a certain string begins, it'll tell you. So let's say we have a supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. This is probably wrong, but let's say we want to find the substring. Let's say our substring is exp, right? And if you feed the string into here, this equals string equals this, it'll go, okay, where is this exp? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Either 20 or 21. That'll be the result. And if it doesn't find it, if we, let's say we do not exp, but we do like derp, like we don't have derp in here, so we're just going to say -1, because it's not there.
As in outside of the array.
Yeah. And this is last index of, so if you have like a bunch of repeating stuff and you just want to find the last one, you would use last index of. This will do substrings of the length specified. So, for example, you have a string like, Joshua, give me a string.
String.
Yeah. String. All right. And we want to find, and what we want to do is we like the word ring, but we don't want to, like, we want to extract the word ring out of string, so we do substring, our start index will be 0, 1, 2, 3, wait, 1, 0, 1, 2, so it'll be 2, and our length would be 4. And this will return.
Did you all niggas start from the beginning?
Sorry?
Did you guys start from the beginning?
Yeah.
Yep.
I want to do like a quick review for this entire course. So it would be possible to watch this one video and be an expert in this course.
We got 2 days, so let's do it.
Yeah. So it's no rush. So that's what substring does. And then we have Joshua's professional help, since he's like the HTML guru.
Hello.
So we can get like ultra like good study notes this way.
Yeah.
I'm here to correct your mistakes.
This one's weird. Instead of sub str, it's substring, and this will do from like whatever index to the other index. So this will give you the length of the thing. So if you know how long the word is that you're looking for, then you use the length. But if you don't, and you just want to, well, I don't know. It depends on what you're trying to do. You'll use like one of these. This will make it lowercase. This will make it uppercase. This will do replace.
Place, yeah.
This removes the white space from the left and the right. This will do it just from the left. This will do it just from the right. Here we're just, testing it out. So our length is 6. Char code at 3 is I. Bless you.
Thanks.
So
And
starting
char code 3 gives a Unicode.
Yeah. Last index of 5, last repeating character, and then we just do an example. So Sunny says, we are programmers, so we know data. So use s.property. So let's say if it's a string, we'd use we'd have like different
Properties
properties.
are treated as members.
Sorry?
Properties here are treated as members.
Yeah.
So word.length, length is a property of word, but it's being treated like a member.
What the hell's in P? Var pi. That's a better variable. Enter a string to calculate number of A occurrences. Well, that's not going to work.
Hiya.
Okay. Oh yeah, so that'll give you a. It'll just do 1. This function will start from 0, go up to the end of the word. It'll see if I is a, capital A actually. So this wouldn't work. So you'd have to do I and it'll increase your user string, and then it'll user string goes 0. Yeah, I don't know what the point of this thing is. No. This will count your I. Like how many times it sees the occurrence of A. I mean. So yeah, this will all output 1. One string, one arg, a string made up of several JS statements. Eval performs the statements. So this will evaluate stuff. Then you have your getters. This will give you all the months, days, years. This one's a bitch. Returns 0 through 11. So 0 will be January and December will be 11. But something like date would return 1 to 31. So somebody fucked up.
Not necessarily.
And then day as well, right? So these two are different. Like, why can't get date be 0?
Well, because day of the week and month are not numerical values, so they get placed into an array. 1 to 31 are numerical values, so you can get the exact day without any trouble, because it doesn't have to be inside an array.
Okay, but get month, like this should be 1 to 12.
At length, that would give you 12.
No, not the length. Get month, it should return from 1 to 12.
Yeah, somebody's
Well, it's simple. You just make a variable that says get month. Get month plus 1.
Plus 1, yeah. You gotta have the plus 1. But anyway, yeah,
Same with get day.
That's how you work with time. 2 locale strings. So this is nice, GMT string, so you can like convert.
To work with time, you have to make a new date object, though.
Yeah, so this is how you do it. New date, milliseconds, year, whatever. That's your format. Then you have your setter. So you can set the date.
That was the getter, now this is the setter.
Yeah.
Again, it's
this math shit, which nobody's ever going to use except math people. So, have fun with that.
You never know.
Yeah.
What if you want to make a game in browser?
Well, then you're going to have to use the tangents and logarithms.
And the sign. Yeah, sign actually comes in handy. Handy. You gotta know them waves.
Sorry?
You gotta know them waves.
Yeah.
Sine wave, tan wave.
Ride the waves.
Yeah.
Number objects. So this would be max value. So this will actually return the biggest number possible in JavaScript. 1.79 times 10 to the power of 308. Very big number. And it's the normal number. Negative infinity, positive infinity. Nan, we already went over. Not a number. To fixed. So here I just compare it in C and C++. Object number dot value of. Return the primitive value of a number object.
Oh, so are you watching TV?
No, my mom is.
Oh. Can you go somewhere where the TV is not being watched?
1 second. I'm okay. I'm checking.
Radix is the base number of a number system. So let's say you're working in base 10. Your radix is 10. It's regular decimal. If you're working binary, your radix would be 2. Change the base of a number, we already went over this. Num to string, and then your base. This would make it binary. This would make it octal. This would make it hex.
Yep.
Yeah, you can calculate it like this or something. I don't know what this is for. Here, just simple division. If you're doing 8, oh yeah, here we were just calculating octal. Because to make something octal, you divide it by 8, and then you use the remainder. Yeah, because you have your, 8 divided by 20 would be 2, and then you move the remainder up, because it's octal. That's how octal works. And then hexadecimal, you divide by 16. Boolean objects, cool bool. Booleans are false by default, or they can be 0, -0, null, blank, false, undefined, or not a number. Can be converted to a string value with toString, like that. Can be converted to a verbal string value, like var string equals true. We already did regular expressions, so I'm just going to skip this part.
Yeah, that's too easy.
Yeah. But it's
Just a
great.
plus question mark.
Yeah.
//ing. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Then there's the little brackets.
ING, yeah. There was also another one, actually. M, multi-line matching. For you fancy people.
Dot test is for regex. String dot match is for strings.
Yeah.
And then exec.
Yeah, exec to call it, and then you could do dot match to see if there's any matching patterns. Yeah, and then dot search, which will search the index of the first one, and if there's no index, if it doesn't see it, it'll do -1. Regex operator characters in brackets. Yeah, stuff like this is used in regular expressions.
Uppercase, lowercase, any character case.
Okay, here we have a lab 3. But then we have another lab 3. So let me see what the difference is.
Alright. Did she mark everything so far?
I don't think she marked anything at all. I can't tell which one is better. Yeah, this one's better, so I'll delete this one. Okay. So this is our lab. I was just taking notes of how to do the lab. So you have to put your crap inside your username under the Zenit account. You could have introduction index pages, relative navigation, in head. This is where you embed your CSS. You know what I'm talking here. Then you have your CSS tag selectors, class selectors, ID selectors, contextual, group them, H1, H2, H3, grouping selectors. Same rules again for assignment. Select this. You gotta make sure you follow all the rules. Background image will set like backgrounds, and then the origin. So in case you want to have your background like coming from the middle, you could do that. This is your box model. This is how to format text. Specific name font. So yeah, when you're doing text, you got to make sure you style like a bunch of different texts. So in case somebody's on a Mac or something and they don't have Arial, you got to type in Helvetica to make sure it looks like relatively the same. And then sans serif. Then here you have your formatting size. So there's 4 different ways to get size. You can do font size equals whatever percentage. This will scale it pretty well. And then you can have p font size 20 point or pixels. So that converts into pixels or points. And then you do like smaller, medium, or larger. I think it's kind of dumb. You don't really know what you're doing. And then EM is pretty good for scaling. So this will scale like relative to size. It's sort of like 150% would be sort of like 1.5 EM. Yeah, scale. Oh wait, no, relative to current size, so 12 points. Scalable in nature. Font weight bold, light, normal. Text align. Oh, yeah. Left, right, justify.
Alright.
So here we got, EM, bold, And then text align center, indent, underline, overline. I've never seen overline used like ever in my life. Line through, it's like when you like cross something out.
So that's how you do underline text decoration, right?
Yeah, and then blink, which I highly don't advise.
This font weight bold, right? And then lighter.
Yeah. Text transform, you can do capitalize, lowercase, uppercase. Font variant, small caps. I don't know what that is. And we have font weed. We're gonna go into CSS. So CSS has had a style, text, and mostly text, and a layout on a web page. So there's 3 types of CSS, right, Joshua? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 3 types, yeah. So we have inline, which is issue style. Like so, here you're taking welcome, and you're styling it like you're making it H3, so it's third heading, and then you're styling it right in the actual text. Font size 20, color blue. So this is like a very common one if you don't want to do too much. And then you have something called internal. So yeah, inline ways.
Inline over internal.
Yeah, inline means just for welcome, right? But here you have div ID main. So this is like internal. So you're saying p style color red. So that means everything that has a paragraph tag. So everything that has p, that'll all get turned into red.
Yep.
CSS inline will override internal. So that's pretty important. Style color green / style. Paragraph style is changed for all p elements unless specified. You can have
Wait,
different
doesn't
styles.
internal override inline?
Yeah, inline will override internal.
Isn't it the opposite?
I don't know.
So I thought it was opposite.
Well, I don't know. I copied straight from the teacher.
'Cause I swear I tried it like I did p style equals to color blah 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 or whatever, and then I had like external or even inline. Like inline is like inline like where you just say style and then slash
This is
style.
inline.
Oh, that's internal.
This is inline. Internal means it's like at the top.
Oh.
Internal means you have all the CSS at the top. Inline means
Oh, okay.
it's at
Okay.
the element.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Well, that's fine. Just switch the meaning of it.
Can have separate styles for elements. Declare the syntax in the first page. So this is external. This is where
The rule sheet.
Yeah, so you're linking a style sheet and you're saying it's first.css. So it's going to open up first.css, grab all the CSS from there and use it. So
Yeah.
then side. Big number to show the extreme result. P2 color green. So yeah, priority. So external applies to the whole site, internal for the whole page, and inline overrides everything. So inline is like the most has the most precedence. You have your margins, style, P type 1, margin top, margin bottom.
Same rule.
Same rule. Does that make sense to you? Border colors. Vertical alignment is not simple. So here what you do is you define a box, height and width. So let's say div. And then you have div center. So you want to center the whole box. So you'd say border, table cell, vertical align middle, text line center. Only applies to tables, need to be in a table cell. And she was trying to trick us. And she said she was going to trick us. So that's pretty funny. Positioning, property position, browser renders HTML statements. You have a column, position absolute, width, left, gray, overflow. What's overflow do again?
Overflow, hidden, invisible?
Yeah. Does that mean it goes past the element? Like if you want to write some text that goes off the page, I think it's overflow.
How would it go off the page when it's on the page?
Like it would go off the element. Joshua, are you there? Oh, he's still gone. Anyway, yeah, let's find out. Overflow.
W3 school. W3 school.
Set the overflow property to scroll. Try it yourself. Oh, here we go.
Oh, okay, I see.
So it like doesn't let you
So that's hidden.
yeah,
on the
exceeds the
list.
size of the element blocks.
It's actually very good to know.
Then we have this thing, it's called DOM. DOM. Wait, we already did this. Put it in order.
No, wait, did you guys do it today?
Do it.
DOM?
JavaScript? No, I'm just starting DOM right now.
Oh, okay.
Every HTML object is called a DOM, document object model. Everything is an object. Text, list, table, image, video, audio. JavaScript is used to manipulate these objects. Font size, color. What the? Connects web pages to scripts. You can use JavaScript to modify the structure and contents of a document. And you can use CSS to modify formatting. When JavaScript is hosted on a browser provides the window host object to JavaScript. So DOM is pretty much saying you can access every single element on your web page with the qualifier. So you'd use window.document. Then your element, and then inside your element you can do even more. So there's a secret root. Everything in tags is a node. This is next level. Division will connect to a P. For example, here are your node types. So for example, you have your element. Let's say you have an element called main, and you want to grab it and you want to just like save it somewhere. You can do that or you can create an element, create a text node. So for example, you want to write have fun on your page a bunch of times dynamically. You can do that with this var. And then somebody asked, like, wouldn't it be easier just to add to the HTML? And she says, this is to make it dynamic. What's a child of this paragraph? HTML is static, but with JavaScript, things can be added to the text. So here we have a script. We don't have a closing tag, just script.
Okay, so wait, just to understand the code. So it's like, first of all, we get the element by ID,
Yeah.
right? Then we create a new element called P, which is a paragraph, basically.
Yeah.
So then when we do the new text content, we basically create a text node,
Yeah.
which is saying within the paragraph, it'll say have fun, right?
Yeah.
So then after that, we just use that function, new. It's a function, right?
No. Here's your this is your function at text node. You're calling it with a button that says have fun. So when you click on have fun, it'll add in the text have fun onto the main element inside a paragraph.
Okay, go to the fourth line where it's new dot element append child.
Yeah.
Where are we getting new from? It's like built in.
Yeah, I think new is built in.
And it's built in if you want to create a new object.
Yeah, it's built in if you want to create a new object.
So then we get the element dot append child. So then we just append the shit. Okay, I get it. We append the thing to the text content.
So here's your fancy little object hierarchy. So like you have window, which pretty much controls everything, but you can have several windows, right? So maybe you'd want to do window 2 or window 3 dot, and then you have your like your properties inside the window. So usually you want to use document. So 99% of the time you'll probably use document. And then you have like here. This is an example with forms because they have more options for it. So here you'd have like form dot text area dot, like let's say value. So you can do dot value, and then you can get the actual text from the form and save it into a variable and do whatever you want with it. Pretty nice. So then we have images and video. So there's like three main formats for images on the internet. So you have GIF, which is lossless, and it's a pretty small size. Looks like shit, but it's nice, if you just want like some simple animations. Then you have JPEG for color images, and you have your PNG, which gives you more colors. It's better for like diagrams for like solid colors, and it's a lot sharper. JPEG's better for like photographs and stuff. IMG SRC. So here's how you put an image. You have IMG SRC, you put your URL in there. So like www.google.ca/logo. Let's say JPEG or something. And then you put your width and height, which are optional. And then your alt. So alt is what kind of text will be displayed if the image doesn't load. Like let's say the connection craps out and the image doesn't load all the way, it'll show you the alt. Or it's great like if you have no eyes and you still want a description of the image, you can put it in the alt. And title, I'm actually not sure what the hell title does. I think it puts like a caption or something. Web users, are you patient? No. I know you know a lot there. And then here is like image maps, which we didn't use. So pretty much in one image, you can have like an image map. So like a rectangular image map. So for example, you can have like a picture, and then inside the picture, you'd have like virtual like squares. So when you press
shapes, right?
Sorry?
You can have shapes and stuff.
Yeah, you can have shapes and stuff. So when you click on the shape, then it'll do like a certain thing. So I guess if you want to make a really shitty HTML game, now you know how to do it.
Oh.
So it's got a map ID and then an area shape, coordinates and stuff. You can make image maps with some tools. There's one called XMap. And here's how to make video. Here's how to make audio. So here, if you want to have controls for the audio, or you just want it to play in the background because you're a dick, and you want to scare your user, you would take this out, the equals controls. You just do audio.
Audio.
Yeah. Source, SRC. So it'd just be audio like this, right? If you want to do that. But I don't suggest it.
You showed us more code that day, I think. You can do more stuff like playback, repeat, loop.
Oh, I'm sure you can. But if you want to, you can just go on the internet, look it up.
Google.
Yeah, Google's your friend.
Always.
Source SRC. So when you're doing audio, it's actually good to have several different formats because, them Apple users really love to not adhere to web standards with their stupid Safari. So you'll want to have like as many audio sources as possible. So this one's OGG Vorbis, which is open source. You have MP3, which is MPEG based. And then you have your text. In case somebody's using IE6 and you want to punch him in the face, you can just type this in. And then /audio. You gotta make sure you close all the tags. And here's how you do videos. Video width, your X, so your like width, right? Then your height, and then if you want controls like play, pause, or anything. And then you put in all your sources for every single format. So, like you'll want to do like MP4 mostly, but OGG like works better on mobile, or even WebM, which is a new standard, which is actually pretty great. Object data. Yeah, so this is how you do it. And then if you're like still living in the 90s, you can use Flash with the SWF. /object/video. And then we have review of menus. I don't know why this links to form, but if you can give me some feedback to the confusion, I will post later. Oh, so like the day before the assignment's due, She's all like, "Oh, who started the new assignment?" And like nobody started it. She's like, "So see, that's the difficulty part." HTML's got some great new features. Header, footer, section, and aside. And you got to use them with your CSS. Because if you don't,
Did you actually say that in class?
What?
Who's done their assignment? Nobody puts their hand up.
Yeah. So
And
see,
then
that's the
it's just
difficulty part. Yeah, because like, who's gonna start it? Like,
Yeah.
Assignment 2 is the only one that I turned in on the day was due.
That's hilarious.
So these are easy. Like, if you have like certain column layouts, you can just, one column would just be like this, or two column has like an aside. And the RAM is like, that's a true definition, like 100%. Usability is how easy it is for the user to navigate the page. Users are lazy. Do you agree? Don't use tables for layout directly. Margin auto. So margin auto, oops, imagine boo.
Imagine that.
Imagine that, yeah. This will put auto means put in the center. Aside, float. This will make it go left. Footer, clear. If you want to make an element after the other, use clear. Nav, list items. Hover li. Define hover elements. And here we start forms. So this should technically be on the next page. Do some forms. Yeah. Let's take a look at form thing. Oh, it's the same thing. Form ID. So every form has to have an ID, so you can address it properly. So it'll be window dot form ID dot whatever. Then you have your method and your action. So you can of course have a form without an action, but it wouldn't be very useful. Forms cannot be nested. And there's two ways for your method. There's a post and a get. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Most of the time you're not that serious about the data. So you have lots of form inputs. Form method, post, ID, name. So this will be the ID of the box. Then the form name. Right, so the ID and name are different. Like in nature, they're different. But it's good to make them the same, just so you don't get confused. This would be your action, like where you want the form to go, like when you press submit. Input type text. Here you have your name, whatever. So this will make it read only. Here you have file input if you want to have a browse button. Input hidden. This is like if you want to, have like a hidden element. For example, like when you want to take data from a client, send to the server without them knowing about it. This is great when you're coding like malware and whatever. Pro tip. Input type text. So here you can even limit the size of characters in this text and the maximum length of the form. So this is like size and characters, and this would be like the length. So you can have like a big box, but only be able to fill in like a little bit from it. This one restricts password. Still transmitted as plain text. So this is not secure.
What is secure in this?
What is secure? I think there's like a different way of doing it. I don't know. She didn't tell us
Probably
what the
like
secure way
server
is.
based. PHP.
Yeah, PHP, exactly.
It was
Input type
unnecessary for it to even say that.
submit. Yeah, so this is the value submit. So like you can change this to go, and the button will be named go.
Go, yeah.
Yeah, reset. So here value equals clear. So the label is going to be called clear. But what it does is resets the form. Input type radio. So this is when you want to have multiple options, but you can only pick one. You'd have a radio button. And if you want to make it like if you want to make each button like group together in one group, which you usually do, you want to make the name the same, but your value is different. So here for
Okay,
gender,
if you're grouping, yeah.
doing stuff, and then here
Or
you
if
have
you
label
if
4.
wait, if you want to group radio buttons, name has to be the same, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Are you sure?
yeah, but the value has to be different.
No, usually how it works is like, for me,
Uh-huh.
is you put it in the same paragraph and it works.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know.
Name can be different. Like one can be male and female. But then again, I think use label for that.
Maybe. I don't know. Mine always fucks up. When I do it this way, it works. Gender, input type radio. So yeah, this will make so you can actually press on male instead of pressing the button. So it makes it a little easier to use.
Which
yeah,
one, the
label
label?
4. Yeah, this
Okay.
thing.
Ooh, I forgot that in the test.
Yeah, so now you can remember it.
Label
I bet
four.
it's gonna be on the exam. Like she's gonna do something like that.
Yeah.
It seems such a such a sunny thing to do. Input type checkbox. So here's like if you want to have checkbox, you have your name and your ID and then your value. Checked. So you can even make it checked by default by typing in checked. Input type. So you can make a input type image. So you can press an image to like submit something. Input type text
Oh,
area.
that's sick.
Yeah. So here you can have like rows and columns for text area in case you want to write like an essay
Yeah,
on the
rows
internet.
and columns.
And then we have new HTML5 elements. Email, number, range, autocomplete, autofocus,
Min max.
yeah,
Placeholder.
min-max, placeholders. These are cool. I like these. Required. So a good way to do it is required equals required. And it's easier to remember because everything has the same format. And then you have text area. I think we went through that one. Yeah.
It's kind of unnecessary, but you can just put required and it works, right?
Yeah.
I guess we'll follow the Sunny method.
Select tag drop down menu. So you do select name, and then if you want to have multiple rows, you do row size. I fucked that up on the test. Opt group label. So this, if you want to have groups, you do opt group, and then your options inside of those, and then you put like other opt groups if you have any.
That's actually what I used in the test.
Yeah, same here. And then you do like option value equals, like if you want to have like a different value, let's say op1. Right. So this will when you click option 1, it'll actually send the value, which is op1. There we go. Event handling. So for example, you press a button and it'll go blarg. So you can run JavaScript code very simply. New attributes for input. For method, post, autocomplete equals on. This one's pretty nice. And you can turn off autocomplete on certain fields. This wouldn't go in the header, this would go in the actual field that you want. So it could be like here, autocomplete equals off, for example. And then you could do, name, min and max. Email, a data list. This is like the select, but it lets you type in stuff as well if you don't like the options. And then tab index, if you want to be able to tab over stuff. But if you have a -1 or a 0, then you can't tab to it, but you can still click on it with the mouse. So let's say you're making a form, if let's say you're stuck in the 90s and you want to lock down a web browser, I've worked with this before, and they take out the mouse, so you're only allowed to use a keyboard. So that's how they do it, like to lock down some stuff. They do tab index. Grouping field, this one's nice. You can have like a field set, and then legend, which is what'll, like here it'll be some questions. It's kind of nice. It groups it all in one thing. HTML does not control what is entered in the field. Use JavaScript to control input, or have clear directions for the user. Use selection buttons instead of text boxes to reduce the types of answers. So assume that the user is really stupid. So you want to make it as simple as possible. So think Apple when you're coding websites. As long as you can program, you're okay. Funny. Yeah. I'm always going to remember her.
From her teachings or from her grammar?
I think from the grammar. Mostly the grammar and the ridiculous examples that she gives. Like overly super complicated examples.
I won't forget them for sure.
That's a tricky part. I did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Of course you did.
Yeah. Whenever she fucks up, she's like, "Oh, I just did it my own way. It's a trick." We always have the
I'm
smart
trying
people.
to fool you.
Always have the smart people.
Yeah. Then we have you always have a function. I mean, it's preferable to have a function called validate all, which will, before you send in the form, it'll validate every single other function to make sure it's true. And if it is, it'll send the form out. But if it's not, it'll do false. So here's where you can alert all the errors. You can also have, you can trim stuff. You can access fields directly. Going through radio button array and check that if there's an option check select. Yeah, so this one's like next level where you have a loop and you want to see if the radio button is selected. The fastest way would be to go through the loop. So here you have your counter, var max, let's say, document.41.specialty.length, and you're checking I equals 0. What the? Oh, yeah, I is less than max, and I plus plus. If form is checked, so it'll go through each element and see, like, is it checked? If it is, then we'll increase the counter. So here we went through the list of arrays for radio buttons. Smart sense checkbox, like all the above. So if you want to have like an all of the above option, which automatically puts like check marks on everything else, you can do it by doing on-click common sense. So you'll have a function called common sense, and inside of it you'll have your array length dot checked equals false. So you can change this to true, and you have to go through your array with a loop, and system I.checked equals true. So you need to check everything. Same is done for clearing options. Access elements inside a selected list. If plans are selected, index equals -1. You don't really know what that does. Calculates values on page dynamically. Here you can calculate values on a page, like for a calculator. Var items equals documents dot number of items dot value. So you get your value, save it into items, and here you have you want to get your cost per value. So to get your total, you do items times cost per value, and there you get your T total. And then you want to make your T total like fixed, you know, so it's not like a billion decimal places, because we don't have anything smaller than a cent. So write T total into HST value dynamically. Boom. Input type we went through hidden input types. This is when you want to do troubleshooting or some sort of status, or you want to get all the information, all the cookies about the user. So this is file upload. You want to. This is how you validate an upload. Because I don't think you can do required. But anyway, the recommended way is to do if at the length equals 0. So if your file length name is 0, then it'll do stuff. I'll make sure you're comfortable with that. Yeah, so validation is going to be on the exam. On submit, return, validate all. So this will call a validate all function. Validation function must return true or false. If it doesn't, then it's going to fuck up. And then you have different ways to refer to elements. You can do form name.element name or name.value. Or this is like if you want to see if it's checked or not. And here's where if you want to check the index of a certain element. And then we have our last DOM interface thing. Here's how to get your element by ID. So you do document.getElementById, and then you put your ID in. So here what you're doing is you have you want to get the ID, you want to get the inner HTML of the ID. So let's say you have some sort of block of text and you want to get the HTML from that block of text. You can do it like this: get element by ID, the name of your ID, like let's say it's div, like div1, and .inner HTML, which is a built-in property.
Wait. Dot inner HTML is built in.
Can I say that again?
Dot inner HTML is built in.
Yeah, it's a built-in property.
Between the tags of ID. What does that mean?
So like let's say you have ID and /ID, right?
Yeah.
As a tag, and you want to get all the HTML inside of it. Oh, let me just do this. Yeah, PID test. Balls are fun / ID
P.
or something,
Or
or
P.
like PID, like that.
P. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or P. It's just P.
Oh yeah, it's yeah. You're right. Okay. So you have this, right, and you want to get the HTML inside of it, right? So you do .inner HTML, and it'll save balls are fun into your variable text.
Ooh.
And here you can have a script.
Don't you close the bracket?
You what, mate?
How you say var text?
Yeah.
ID.inner HTML. It shouldn't there be a
Yeah,
collision?
close it, right.
Okay.
Oh, there's tons of typos on this. Document.write HR. So this will put a horizontal rule wherever you need to go. Here you can write text in a document. Here you can append text to a string. Text plus equals everybody. And then here you can access elements by tag name. So you can access your elements if you have different tag names. So like let's say you have lots of paragraphs, but you only want to get div1. So you do, let's say you have p's inside of div1. So you'd have div1, you'd count them, then you count the paragraphs within div1, save in a variable, and then you do a0, which would be like your first paragraph, and you get the .inner HTML. So this will get the HTML out of your first paragraph. If you want to do it from the second paragraph, you do A1, and that'll give you the HTML from the second paragraph.
Okay, tag name. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. You can change the content inside the page. So get element by ID hide. Yeah. So you change the text inside your ID hide. So when you have the equals, here you can write in actual text into your element. So you can override text on the page with like simple DOM And then you have your client-side validation guidelines. There's 3 ways to validate. Reasonableness test based off of other information. Check digit test for like credit card numbers or social insurance. And a consistency test. Check if values are consistent with other information. So here's a phone value test. We do form.value. So here is just checking if there's parse int, which will like parse, like it'll check if it's an integer, pretty much. So take whatever's value in here and compare and see if it's a number. If it's not a number, it'll say, screw you, you gotta put in numbers.
You could just do is nan though.
Or even better, you can just do field equals number, right? Form ID equals number. Wait, not form ID. What was the other thing? Where is it? Forms. Here's how I do it. Number. So input type equals number. I don't have an example. But input type equals number will automatically check if it's a number. Like even before it gets to the JavaScript.
Really?
Yeah.
That helps so much.
Yeah, well, I think we used it in our assignment.
That helps so much.
Yeah, but when you want to
That was allowed
validate
in the
the
test.
actual like numbers, like if you have characters in there, it'll say like this needs to be a number. But yeah, if you want to validate stuff, then you gotta do extra stuff.
Ooh, he might my workshop 10.
Validating input for text boxes. Var input value equals document41 .name.value. So here you're grabbing the value from your name and you're saving it into an input value. You're not really doing anything with it. So I don't know what this example is supposed to show. Here you're checking if the radio button is true. It's checked. Here you're checking if, like here what you're doing actually is you're setting a safe empty state for this index. So by default, it's -1, so nothing's selected. So because it's -1, you can check if it's been changed, because as soon as you press any of the options, it'll change a -1 to something else. But if the user doesn't pick anything else, yeah, if they don't pick anything else, then it's going to be -1. And then when you do your form validate, you check if it's -1. So -1 being an invalid and does not pass validation. Here you're calculating to 2 decimal places. Here's, okay, we already did this. Upload checking we already did. Validate all. Did I scroll up by accident? No, we're just repeating stuff. In class we repeated the same thing like 10 times. It's best to save an array into a variable, so the getElements function doesn't have an unnecessary number of number of calls.
Mom interface. Yo, this is a very good slide. You actually have everything. All the examples.
Yeah, so here you have your div. So you're gonna get your element and you're gonna save it as M, so it's just easier to access, right? So because you can put all of this inside here, but then it would make your code like super messy and crappy. So you want to save it into a variable, save this into a variable, and then you can write stuff into it. So here you'll write stuff directly into paragraph 1. Create a loop that goes through every paragraph, create a counter. So yeah, this will actually count how many paragraphs you have. And here you can even, oh man, my spelling was really bad. By class. Yeah, so here you can actually get elements by class. So if you have a class called red, you can save that entire class into X, and then you can actually do stuff with it. Here's getting elements by ID, saving value of elements. A button is a picture. And you remember that part? Yeah, okay. Because she repeated this in the previous class and nobody remembered it. So she's like, okay. Style margin auto, the best way to center. It was pretty funny, like her style tag, she was fucking it up. Because she was styling something and then changing it right after. And for some reason it wasn't taking like the second change. So she just keeps refreshing the page over and over again, thinking that something's wrong with the browser. But turns out the lesson learned is you can't style something to be red and then say, okay, now make it blue. For some reason it ignores the blue part. So you only style text once. Browser object window. Open a browser window. Yeah, so this will actually open up a new window called WinRef. And you can give it a URL name and even scroll bars if you want them. And then you can even write stuff. Pure HTML code you can just put in here.
I don't think this thing's gonna be on the test.
Probably not.
Did you guys? What was the test review? I was there for the test review.
I wasn't.
I forgot what she did. She even has a slide on it, I think.
Okay, we'll go through his slide in a bit.
Oh yeah, she has a slide. Yeah, she has everything that we need to know.
Okay, great. We'll do that tomorrow.
I think I'm studying for OOP today as well. Finish OOP so that I don't need to touch it, except for light touches right before the exam.
Yeah, good idea.
So that I get maximum time with DBS.
Right, you are.
I mean, this course, like, I'm doing good for OOP.
Good stuff,
Let me
mate.
see what I got anyway.
Good stuff, mate.
I'm gonna check the marks.
Here we have our drawing. So you have your script. You have a canvas name. You want to save it into a variable. Or you want to make a 2D drawing on your canvas. You fill it. You give it a rectangle. That's it. Exam review. What's this? Oh yeah. So closure. So I'm guessing this will be important, where they'll have like different variables inside. Like I have a very strong feeling the exam is going to be like a bunch of nested functions, and it'll be like, okay, so what's this variable mean, or something, or what does this variable return? And you'll have to know about closure. There will be anonymous functions, so you might have to write an anonymous function, or do a walkthrough. Something will return a function. So here you have an anonymous function inside a function. Do you agree? And Katie's like not paying attention. She's like, Katie, are you okay? Substring str. Does anybody know what it is?
I didn't pay attention.
Everyone's like,
classes.
substring. Ari.
Pretty much every time that Sunny asked me something and I just stared at her not answering for a moment before someone else answered. Yeah, that's because I was on Reddit. I'm not gonna fix all your mistakes.
I'm not even worried about OOP at all. Like I only have 50%.
Yeah, I'm only worried about getting assignment 3 done for OP and then I'm fine. I don't care about what mark I get on the exam as long as I pass it anyway.
No worries, guys. The best programs are the ones who just pass.
Same for INT. I just need to finish
Literally
up this
for all-
validation.
For OOP, I'm just gonna spend like an hour. That's it. I'm studying it.
Yeah, man.
Or just do name planner right now.
Good plan.
So like a maximum time with DBS.
Maximum
Can't get
time.
screwed on DBS.
Maximum strength.
Maximum time.
Maximum speed. Like in Crisis.
I actually installed Crisis 2, 1, and 3 on my PC just to test out this new graphic card. Oh man, it's gorgeous.
Assigning values. So here, yeah, you can write directly into the array the same way you do it in C. Create new objects using. Yeah, I would pretty much review. Margin left equals auto. Center box. Thank you everybody for the whole semester. Indeed, yes.
Who said that? Wait, so she
Sunny.
wrote that?
Yeah, Sunny didn't have much of a closing.